Good afternoon, folks, or good evening, wherever you may be. Today I'm going to talk about the dangers, the dire consequences of the usage of prescription drugs, specifically benzodiazepines, a bit on anti-inflammatories, and a lot on narcotic painkillers. Of course, I'm not going to talk about marijuana, because as the wise already know, marijuana is not a drug and should be legal throughout the entire world as it once was. And it shouldn't just be used for medical reasons. It should be used for whatever the frack one wants. Many of you already know my feelings on this topic from hearing my myriad of shows with Bob Charles from 2012 up until 2013 on Kinetic Hi-Fi out of South Carolina, until they attempted to censor me for my expose on Zionism. Of course, I told them where to go. Took a little hiatus, a little rest period, and then went on to prepping for the New World Order on Blog Talk Radio with Tammy Texas Wagner until Tammy got sick. Now, I am the every week guest on the Clay Douglas Show on freeamerican.com on the Free American Hour, which is really a 2-hour show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. Central Time. So let's rock. First of all, prescription drugs, benzodiazepines, narcotic pain relievers, and of course anti-inflammatories should be illegal. Marijuana, a perfectly safe herb, a weed, a plant, is truly manna from heaven and will alleviate just about any problem. And to prove that, I posted 3 videos not done by me under this video. I posted them earlier this afternoon. Let's start with benzodiazepines. First of all, benzodiazepines, as well as hypnotics, are a very serious threat to the brain. They alleviate anxiety, yes, for a while. Then they actually cause it. And you have to take more. And if you try and get off it, if you take large amounts of it, I would say of at least a bar to 2 bars of Xanax, for example, per day, you can get seizures and die of a brain hemorrhage. The same applies to Klonopin, Valium, and the other benzodiazepines. Anti-inflammatories that you could buy over the counter or through a prescriptions such as naproxen, etc., and so forth, cause liver damage, and that's what the doctors want. Now, before I go into pain medications, and I'm a real expert on this topic as I've done many prescription drugs in the past. I know I don't look like I did, but I am who I am. Most people can't deal with it. Never again would I. But when one goes to the doctor every month to get the prescription for pain pills or benzodiazepines or anti-inflammatories, especially pain pills and benzodiazepines, because they give you a buzz, a euphoric feeling, or a high, as we love to speak of, that all of you all want, whether you admit it or not. And I guarantee you 80% of the American public is addicted to benzodiazepines as well as narcotic painkillers. When you go to that doctor, the doctor does not want you to stop taking those drugs because he's making money off you by your monthly visit. If he wasn't, he'd give you a prescription for a year at a time or 6 months at a time and then check your health. When you came in for your 6 months or yearly visit. But he doesn't do that because the doctor is a devil in disguise. The doctor is nothing more than a salesman for Big Pharma who is making probably trillions, certainly more than billions, off you. I don't care about his bedside manner. It's an act. He's a B actor. B minus, as are all politicians that allow these drugs and yet deny you the use of cannabis, which marijuana should be called, or hemp at all times. When you take narcotic pain pills, the first thing that happens to you, besides the buzz, besides the euphoria, is a constriction of the kidneys. The kidneys don't function properly. And what actually happens is they retain water, which could lead to edema or a swelling of the legs, which could lead to congenital heart failure. Of course, they won't tell you that. If you have a knee problem and you go to the doctor and your leg swells up, he'll tell you it's because you need a knee replacement, because he's in cahoots with the surgeon. But you don't need a knee replacement. And when your other leg swells up, he'll tell you, well, I'll give you that nonsense that the right leg is connected to the left leg and vice versa. You know the old song, the right bone is connected to the left bone? Please. These guys are insidious, diabolical. Next thing that happens is a constriction of the colon. The colon gets clogged. Constipation sets in. This could lead to a hernia, which can burst on you. And you can die because of that hernia. You'll see many people at the beach looking like a bunch of slobs because their stomachs are extended. It's not because they're fat. That's not body fat in a large amount of the cases. That is the restriction of the colon. Very, very deadly, very dangerous. And lastly, from narcotic pain relievers, what a joke. They don't relieve pain. After a while, they don't work at all. You're just going for the buzz, which lasts for a short period of time. Unless you mix them with benzodiazepines to get the heroin high. And heroin, by the way, is not 1/10 as bad as narcotic painkillers. That's why it's outlawed. But when you try and get off these narcotic pain pills, you're in deep trouble. Because if you try and detox cold turkey, all of you are going to experience shakes, that's body shakes, quivers. You're going to feel like you're jumping out of your skin, diarrhea, nausea, and this will go on for weeks. Or possibly a month, maybe even longer. And yes, you could die during these withdrawals. Now, if you detox in the way they try and get you to detox, by putting you, well, let's give you an example. Let's say you're taking OxyContin, Roxicodone, Percocet, or any of these drugs. When they detox you, they may put you on methadone, which, trust me, is 4 times as bad. You can die. Plus, they eat away your brain. But they won't tell you that. Now, other programs will detox you 5% or more a day. You'll take less of the drug. But when you get down to a pill or a half a pill, you're still going to go through the body shakes. So if you have this problem of addiction, which many of you I know do, you might as well get down to as low as you can and then go through the terrible withdrawals, because you're going to go through them anyway. You got to man up. You dance with the devil, now you got to pay the price. It's the way it is. These drugs are deadly and dangerous. They have to be stopped. They should be outlawed. They serve no purpose. In your New Testament, they call them pharmacopoeia. They're toxins. They're poisons. Extremely bad for you. It's time to wake up. Because the drug, and you know out there, becomes your first love. You lose your girlfriend, your spouse, your wife. You lose everything. You lose your business. You lose money. Lots of it. And then you're going to have to start over again. And if you're too old to start over again, whoa, you are in trouble. You're up shit's creek, so they say. So remember, just to reiterate, biodiazepines cause brain seizures and death. Narcotic pain killers, especially OxyContin, Roxicodone, and of course methadone, the worst, causes the restriction of the kidneys, the colon, and horrible addictions. If you're taking those drugs, stop. And if you really like to get high so much, I would suggest that you get a different drug. Believe me, Dilaudid and Demerol are not half as bad as the three big ones. The methadone, the Roxicodones, and the OxyContins, and of course the Percocet, which is a form of oxycodone. You got to stop this nonsense because you will lose your life. And trust me, a few months or a month in the sick bay is better than a lifetime of hell. Now, marijuana, I would make a bet right now, and I'm going to call it cannabis or hemp. I would make a wager right now of 2-1 that if every politician, every senator, every congressman took a drug test, they would fail the marijuana part of it or the cannabis part of it, because they all smoke pot, every one of them. Yeah, and they inhale. Bill Clinton, of course he did. You know, Bill wouldn't lie, not Slick Willie. And I guarantee you also that if their kids, their teenage children, took a drug test for cannabis or hemp, they would fail too. Because I have inside information that these politicians actually give it to their children. A, to prevent them from taking the dangerous street drugs or prescription drugs, and B, for health reasons, because cannabis promotes good health. That's all, folks. One more thing though. Watch the 3 videos below on why cannabis is outlawed. Have a great evening.